Hello everyone. Welcome to the Thoughtful Digest. Imagine your company announces a hiring freeze tomorrow. Suddenly, every employee has to prove the value they bring. In a world where AI can answer questions instantly, one skill becomes priceless: truly understanding what you do. Because if you can't explain it simply, chances are you don't understand it as deeply as you think. Now, imagine this: it's Monday morning, you walk into the office with your coffee, opened your laptop, and joined the first meeting of the day. Everything feels normal until your manager turns to you and says, "Could you explain how this process works?" Just keep it simple so everyone understands. You freeze. Not because you have never worked on it, you have attended the meetings, watched the training videos, and taken notes. You have seen this process countless times. But now it turns to explain it, the words don't come. You begin confidently. Well, basically, then you stop. Suddenly, you realize something uncomfortable. Maybe you don't understand it as well as you thought. This doesn't happen at work. Maybe you have watched videos about maybe investing, artificial intelligence, or how the human brain works. You recognize the concepts, they sound familiar, but if someone asks you to explain them in simple words, could you? Psychologists call this the illusion of competence. It's a feeling that because something is familiar, we have truly learned it, but familiarity isn't understanding. Today, we consume more information than any generation before us: books, podcasts, online courses, YouTube videos, and now AI can answer almost any question in seconds. That's incredible, right? But there's one thing technology can't do for us: it can't build understanding. Because information can be copied, but understanding has to be built. And one man dedicated his life to making sure he never confused the two. His name was Richard Feynman. The man who refused to pretend. Richard Feynman wasn't just one of the greatest physicists of the 12th century. In 1965, he won the Nobel Prize in Physics for his groundbreaking work. But what truly sets him apart wasn't just his intelligence, it was his curiosity. From young age, Feynman loved understanding how things worked. He would take apart radios, locks, mechanical gadgets, not because he wanted to break them, but because he wanted to discover what was happening beneath the surface. As he grew older, he noticed something interesting. Many people could use complicated words and technical definitions, yet struggle to explain the same idea in simple language. That made him ask a powerful question. If you really understand something, why can't you explain it simply? For Feynman, simplicity wasn't about making ideas smaller, it was about proving that you truly understood them. Whenever he couldn't explain a concept clearly, he never pretended to know it. Instead, he went back, studied it again, found the gaps in his understanding, and tried once more. To him, confusion wasn't a sign of failure. It wasn't a sign that learning had just begun. That simple idea became one of the most effective ways to learn anything, from science, maths, business, programming, or even everyday life. Today, it's known as in the world as the Feynman Technique. And once you have understand these four simple steps, you'll never look back at learning the same way again. The Feynman Technique. Four steps to real understanding. So, what exactly is the Feynman Technique? At first, it seems almost too simple to work. There are no complicated study hacks, no expensive courses, no secret shortcuts, just four steps. But don't let their simplicity fool you. If you practice them consistently, they can completely change the way you learn. Step 1. Choose your concept. Start with a single concept you have genuinely want to understand. It could be anything. How does compound interest work? How AI learn? Why do airplanes stay in the air? Whatever. Or maybe it's something related to your job that you have always found confusing. The topic itself doesn't matter. What matters is your intention. Most of us study with one goal in mind, remembering information. The Feynman techniques ask you to change that goal. Instead of asking, what do I need to memorize? Ask yourself, how does this actually work? That one question changes everything because now your brain isn't collecting facts, it's searching for understanding. Step 2. Explain it like you're teaching someone. This is the real test begins. Imagine you're explaining the topic to someone who has never heard of it before. Not an expert, not your professor, as someone with absolutely no background. How would you explain it? Let's take AI as an example. You could say it's a computational system that identifies statistical patterns from large data sets using machine learning algorithms.
Wow.
That sounds good, right? But would your younger brother understand it? Probably not, right? Instead, you can say, imagine teaching a child to recognize cats. The more picture of cats you show them, the better they become recognizing one. AI learns in a similar way. It looks at thousands of examples until it starts recognizing patterns on its own. Notice the difference? The second explanation uses simple language. Simple doesn't mean less intelligent. Simple means you understand the idea well enough to remove unnecessary complexity. And that's exactly what Feynman wanted us to do. Step 3. Find the gaps. Now comes the most important steps. As you're explaining the concept, you'll probably reach a point where you stop. Maybe you hesitated, maybe you repeat the same sentence in different words, or maybe you suddenly think, wait, I actually don't know why that happens. Most people see this as a failure. Feynman saw it as progress because you have just discovered the exact place where your understanding ends. That's your learning gap. Instead of pretending to know it, go back. Open the book again. Watch the lesson one more time. Ask a question. Read another explanation. Then come back and try explaining it again. Every time you fill one gap, your understanding becomes stronger. Learning isn't about getting everything right on the first try. It's about finding what you don't know and fixing it. Step 4. Simplify and repeat. Once you have filled those gaps, explain the idea again. But this time, make it even simpler. Use shorter sentences, replace difficult words with everyday language. Use examples from daily life. Imagine you're explaining it to a friend over a cup of coffee. If your explanation still feels complicated, that's okay. Keep refining it. Keep simplifying it. Eventually, something interesting happens. You stop trying to remember the textbook. Instead, you begin speaking naturally. Not because you have memorized more, but because you have finally understood it. And that's the real goal of learning. These four steps may sound very simple, but together they force your brain to do something passive learning never can. Instead of just consuming information, you organize it, you question it, you connect it, and finally you make it your own. Practical ways to use Feynman technique. Now you might be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually use it in my daily life? The good news is you don't need to study for hours to completely change the way you learn. Small changes can make a huge difference. Here are three simple ways you can start this learning today. First, explain what you learn. Every time you finish reading a chapter, watching a lecture, or something new, pause for a minute. Close the book, close the video, and then ask yourself, could I explain this to someone who has never heard it before? If you can, you have probably understood it. If you can't, don't move on just yet. Go back and fill the gaps. Learning isn't finished when you have read something. It's finished when you can explain it. Keep a teach back notebook. Instead of filling with copied notes, dedicate one notebook to explanations. Whenever you learn a new idea, write it down as you are teaching it to a friend. Use your own words. Avoid copying definitions from textbook. At first it might feel difficult. That's actually a good sign because every time you struggle to explain something, you have found another opportunity to learn. Over time, this notebook becomes more than just notes. It becomes proof of how your understanding has grown. Use AI as a learning partner, not a replacement. Today, AI can explain almost anything within seconds. That's very useful. But here's the mistake many of us make. We ask AI for an explanation, read it, understand it for a moment, and move on. Instead, try this. First, explain the topic in your own words. Then ask AI, what did I miss? Or can you challenge my explanation? Now, AI isn't doing the thinking for you. It's helping you think better. It's That's where the real learning happens. The Feynman technique isn't about studying smarter. It's about becoming more curious. The moment you become comfortable saying, I don't understand this yet, is the moment you give yourself permission to truly learn. The knowledge that stays with you. Now, let's go back to the question where we started with. How do you know when you have truly learned something? Is it because you have finished a book, completed a course, watched a video? Maybe. But real learning reveals itself in a much simpler way. It happens when someone asks you a question and instead of repeating a definition you have memorized, you explain the idea naturally in your own words. That's understanding. Today, we can see about the information, we search for an answer and it comes within seconds. But while information has become abundant, understanding it's still rare. That's why Richard Feynman idea is more relevant today than ever before. Next time you finish reading a chapter, attending a class, don't ask yourself, did I remember everything? Instead, ask one simple question: could I explain this to someone who has never heard it before? If the answer is yes, you have moved beyond memorization. You have built understanding. And if the answer is no, don't be discouraged. That's not failure. That's simply your invitation to keep learning. Because every expert you admire was once a beginner who was willing to admit, I don't understand this yet. That mindset is what keeps us growing. One question at a time, one explanation at a time, one lesson at the time. Thank you so much for spending these moments with me. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, consider sharing with someone who loves learning as much as you do. And if you like more timeless ideas from books on productivity, psychology, and personal growth, don't forget to subscribe to the Thoughtful Digest. Until next time, stay curious, stay humble, and never stop